So my journey started in college. I played my college ball at TCU. I was a fifth-year senior there, and I was a solid college player. I really loved TCU so much. I got to be under some of the best coaches possible and play with just some amazing teammates. And I got drafted by the Boston Red Sox in the 24th round, and it was awesome. But going from TCU and playing in big environments and hitting a homer in Omaha and going to that first year of pro ball, it's a real wake-up call as to what the lower levels of the minor leagues are like. Just to be short, I hated it. I was 23 years old, and the lowest levels of pro ball where guys were 16 to 19 years old, and I really fell out of love with the game. And my first year was terrible. When I got called up to short season low A, I hit about $160 and ended up getting hit by a pitch and broke my thumb, had surgery. I was just really down, and I didn't think I was going to play baseball very long. Like I said, I didn't love it, and I was sick of it. But it was something I'd always done, so I showed up that off season, and I worked out, and I had the pleasure of working out with another TCU teammate of mine, Matt Carpenter. And one thing, there's a couple things that happened throughout my career that teammates and friends have said things to me that just have really resonated and really changed my perspective. And one thing he said was, "Dude, do you know you're good enough to play in the big leagues?" And I was like, holy shit, man. In my head, I said, yeah. But in my head, I'm like, no, I don't think I'm good enough, I just played in the lowest level. I hit $160. I'm miserable. I don't like the game. But him saying that really started to turn my wheels. And he was like, dude, I've played with you. And I can tell you right now that you're better than guys I've played with in the big leagues. And so that really lit a fire under me. And that offseason, I worked my butt off. And I showed up the next year, went to low A, and had the best year of my career. I think I hit like 320 with 8 homers for half the year. I was an all-star. So I got called up to high A. And same deal. I had a great year. I hit just under 300. It's not the best place to hit, Salem, Virginia. And I really had fun, and I enjoyed it. So that fire stuck with me, and that offseason I worked hard. The next year I started in Double A. Same deal. I was an all-star. I played great. Was loving life, loving baseball. Thought I was going to get called up AAA at the All-Star game like everybody else there. Aaron Judge and other guys were there. Gary Sanchez. It was a cool experience. And I hit in the home run derby, which was hilarious. And I didn't get called up. And the day after the All-Star game, I was a little bummed about it. And, baseball has got a way of I don't know. When you're down on yourself, baseball's got a way of kind of knocking you down further. And I got hit by a pitch, broke my right wrist, so I was out for the rest of the year. And that stunk, but it's okay. So next year I go back to Double A, I play well, I get promoted to Triple A, and Triple A was a different animal, especially being with the Boston Red Sox. It was all former major league guys that had big league service time, and I felt like a little kid again. And I didn't play that great. I think I hit like 260, which looking back at our ballpark in Pawtucket at the time, it was not a good place to hit at all. And, I should have been more proud of my numbers than I was, but it was a wake-up call. So next year, back to AAA, same old deal, played a little sparingly. And 2018, I ended up not playing much at all, and then I get sent down to AA. It was a long journey. That year I did not like baseball again. 2019, they made me go back to AA to start. I'm 29 years old. I'm so frustrated. I'm sick of the Red Sox. I'm sick of the game. And, but I ended up getting called up to AAA. And that year I had a different manager. It was a manager that I had in AA who I liked a lot, and I think he liked me. So I ended up playing a lot more, and I played great. I hit just under 280, and going into September that year, media had put out, hey, the Red Sox, they were out of playoff contention, and the Red Sox were calling up a left-handed pitcher and a right-handed bat. And at the time, I was batting third for our team. So I had older guys coming up to me saying, hey, man, you deserve this. I hope it's you. Good luck. And I'm like, holy shit, man, is this really happening? Like, I started feeling really nervous. That's a long time to not get called up where everyone else around you has debuted. And it's life-changing. Just the money's different, you get to say you're a big leaguer for the rest of your life. So I was nervous. play that game. After the game, the manager calls in a left-handed pitcher. We're like, oh, okay, it's happening. He comes out, yeah, he got called up. And so I'm sitting right there waiting, seeing, man, maybe he's going to come get me. And he goes and gets a different guy, a guy that hit just over 200 on the year. I'm not going to drop his name, but he was not the best teammate, and he ended up being the guy that got called up. And I was so frustrated and almost heartbroken that I really thought this was the time it was happening. And I really couldn't believe it, man. I was so frustrated, and played the rest of that month. And manager at the end of the year came up to me and said, hey, just want to let you know that myself and the AAA staff all nominated you to be the right-handed bat. I also heard that one of the coaches, at least in the big leagues, nominated you as well. And, you know, I don't know where the disconnect was, but, you know, we wish it would have been you. And I'm like, whatever, man, you know, thanks. Like, I didn't know what to say. I felt really weird after hearing that. And Cora had called me during the year, Alex Cora, who was the Red Sox manager, and said, hey, man, you know, we're not taking note of what you're doing this year. And, you know, he wanted me to go play winter ball in Puerto Rico. So after that call and that season, I'm like, and the Red Sox offer me, you know, your first 7 years, you make pretty much, I made less than $20,000 every year. Like a couple of the early years, I think it was like $12,000 on the year. It's an absolute joke. And it's not sustainable. You can't live your life like that. So they called me, said, hey, we want to invite you to Major League Spring Training, which is, I thought I had deserved that for years before, and I was so excited, like, all right, man, freaking finally, Cora's a manager, and I was going to make close to $100,000 that year. I'm like, all right, sign me up, Red Sox, we're back, you know, I've earned this, we're back, let's go ball out. So that offseason is the Astros scandal, and Alex Cora is no longer the manager going into that 2020 season. I'm like, that stinks, you know, he was a big part of why I signed back, but whatever. So I show up to camp. Long story short, I have a great camp. Defense was outstanding. I hit my butt off, and I really felt like I was turning some heads. And I remember one of the articles was Ron Renicky, the manager, saying that Jerry Narron, our bench coach, and they listed me saying, hey, that's Jerry's guy right now. You know, that guy's he's doing everything right, and you know, that's Jerry's guy. And I read that, and I was like, holy smokes, man, like, this is it. And once again, I had guys come up to me saying, hey, there's a spot open. You know, we don't know who that last position player on the roster is going to be. Like, keep going. I'm like, all right, baby, let's go. You know, but once again, I just felt like I earned this. You know, like, keep going. Whatever. So that was 2020 spring training. Boom, COVID happens. We get sent home. You know, okay, that was just a crazy time. And so I stayed in shape. We had a group that we were getting at bats right here around Fort Worth, and we had some pro talent, some big league guys, and it was so much fun. I really loved staying in shape and being with those guys. And it comes out, hey, each team's going to have a 30-man roster. I'm like, okay, I think based on this spring, you know, I'm looking at rosters. I might be guy number 29 or 30, you know, but once again, I've earned this. Then it came out, hey, you're going to have 40 guys, and then 50, and then 60 guys. I'm like, hallelujah, man. I'm going to be one of these dudes that I get to come back after COVID, prove myself, and it's going to be a crazy year. Guys get COVID, they're going to have to call guys up. You know, this is a real opportunity. So I'm hosting a kids camp at home, and I get a call from the Red Sox. And I'm kind of rubbing my fingers together like, let's go, baby, here it is. And on the call, he says, hey, just want to let you know we are not inviting you back, one of the 60 guys. And my jaw just sank to my chest, and my stomach hit the floor. And I just felt sick to my stomach. You know, this is the team that drafted me. I've been their organizational guy, like, for every year, the best teammate I could ever be. And, like, what more could I do? You know, I had great years, and just felt like I did everything that they ever could have asked. And I was heartbroken and confused. Long story short, that whole year goes by. They don't call me back. I don't get called up. My wife and I are pregnant, you know, recently married, pregnant. And up to this point, 7 years, I hadn't made a dime, never over $20,000. And that year I was supposed to make $16,000 a month, and I ended up getting paid $400 a month. So I told my wife, baby, I can't do this anymore. You know, it's just been a kick in the nuts after kick in the nuts, and we need to make money, and it's time for me to settle down, be a dad, be a good husband, and, you know, just be done with baseball. I'll get a job. So, you know, she was still supportive. I wanted to play, but she also understood too. So I quit. I stopped working out. I stopped throwing. I stopped hitting. I took a job. A buddy of mine offered me a sales position, and I went through 1 month of training, and, you know, lo and behold, it wasn't as fun as baseball, and I did not enjoy it. So during that time, the Seattle Mariners called me right around New Year's. I hadn't thrown a ball or hit in months. I had been working out, you know, but I was doing bench press and squats. I wasn't really doing baseball specific workouts, so I wasn't in the best shape. And said, hey, you know, are you playing winter ball? And I'm like, no. You know, I didn't tell them I quit, but, you know, no. So they said, okay, well, we want to invite you to big league camp, and we want you are penciled in as our starting third baseman in AAA. And I was like, holy smokes, dude. Like, in my head, I'm like, the Red Sox never let me start the year in AAA. I never had a starting position, ever. I'm like, this is a real opportunity. You know, Seattle Mariners, just growing up as a Rangers fan, Ichiro, and I got to see the Mariners play a lot. So I was so excited. So I told my wife, I said, babe, I'm back. The Mariners call me, you know, if you're cool with it, I'm going to go play. She's like, absolutely. So we go. I have an amazing spring. I absolutely love the Mariners. And long story short, after that spring, we have a month at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. Because of COVID, there was it's called the alternate site. I got to work with Ichiro every day for a month. It was just a dream come true. Every day was so much fun. Our team was awesome. That year I had just absolute career year. I hit .299 with 19 homers. And I fell in love with the game again. You know, I had been down in the dumps, and I just got a whole new perspective on just how much fun baseball could be. So that year led to me signing to the next year to a big league deal in Japan. And my wife and I love traveling. She used to be a flight attendant. We'd flown all over when she had that job. And so the opportunity to go play in Japan was real money and a real opportunity to go over there, prove myself, and also have some fun. So long story short, COVID restrictions, I get over there late, and no spring training, and I really struggled. You know, I'm a kind of a bigger personality guy, and you just feel extremely lonely. The game is totally different over there, and I struggled. And I struggle with falling in love with the game again. Baseball, when you don't play well, it weighs on you a lot. And being by yourself in a totally different country where nobody speaks your language, and you feel like you're on an island, you've got no help. When I would try to talk to my friends or coaches over here, the time difference never really lined up, and I really struggled. And, you know, I hit under 200 in the big league season, and, you know, I was in a dark place. So I really was. But we were over there with my son and my wife. We loved being in Japan. So it was just an awesome experience. But baseball-wise, I thought I was on top of the world the year before, and I had figured things out. And, you know, .299 with 19 homers, I thought, this is who I am. And going over there and hitting less than 200 in the big leagues, it was extremely humbling. And, you know, baseball kind of put me back in my place. I had gotten too high, and it brought me back down. But the next spring, I was able to sign with San Diego Padres. I went to big league camp, had the worst spring training of my career. Just my timing from Japan and just my swing flaws and everything else that had shown up in Japan were still there, and I struggled. But I went to the AAA team in El Paso, and I had another great year. And I love baseball again, man. Like, having my son in the stands and starting to understand the game, it was a dream come true. I took him to the field every day. We played. And once again, just amazing teammates, an amazing year. Baseball was so much fun. And that offseason, I went to hit with a group in Tennessee called 108 Performance, and I wanted to address some of the swing flaws that I've always had, things that had shown up, and I felt like they really could help me. And those guys opened up my eyes to just a whole new way of framing, of thinking about coaching and playing and the swing. And I found a new passion for becoming a student of the game. And, you know, it was something that was just really special, and I loved it. So I came home, I worked my butt off, and I didn't get any calls going into 2024. Yeah, I didn't get any calls for going to spring training. So long story short, I stayed in great shape, and the Rangers called me. So I went to play. I showed up late, showed up to Round Rock, which was our dream team. You know, I grew up in Arlington, Texas, and I grew up going to Ranger games, and you know, I love the Rangers, and I have a bunch of family in Austin, so being in Round Rock was a dream come true. So we go play in Round Rock once again. I love the game, love it, but I could feel that, you know, my career, I'm 34, you know, I need to start prepping of what I'm gonna do. So during that time, I'm posting more on Instagram, and I know that this is something I want to do. I want to be able to work with kids all over the country and hopefully someday all over the world, and help them become better people and better players. And so I ended up getting released by the Rangers. I enjoyed some time with my family, and now we're here, you know. And I love, my two passions are hanging out with my family, which I've got 2 young boys, like I mentioned, and the other passion has become baseball. And so working with kids online, and especially hybrid kids, where kids that live locally, that I can give them programming and work with them every day of the week, and then they come hit with me a couple times a month, and so I can get my hands on them and see them. And you know, that to me is just the best of both worlds. But the remote coaching is a real deal. And to tell a little background of that is, in 2021, when I was with the Mariners, I kind of struggled early on in the year, and one of my favorite coaches of all time, our pitching coach, you know, he said, "Hey, I've got a buddy with the Tampa Bay Rays, and he's the hitting coach there, and I think he could really help you, and I want you to give him a call." So I had one FaceTime with this coach for 40 minutes, and we went over my swing, my approach, you know, kind of my career, and he showed me a couple drills and a couple things that he thought would help me in my swing. And that one 40-minute phone call led to the best year of my career. So from that moment on, I knew remote coaching is a real thing. And I've witnessed it. It changed my career. I got to go to Japan after that. So that was something I'll never forget and really stuck with me. And I think I can do that with other kids. So like I said, working with kids, this is a way for me to align both my passions, which is baseball and being with my family. So, you know, hopefully if you're an athlete or a parent of an athlete and, you know, you're looking into working with me, this is just a little more background on me. And I know Instagram short clips, you don't really get a good feel for who I am, but if you're interested, I hope our paths cross, and I hope we're a good fit for each other, and I can help transform your kids' lives, not just on the baseball field, but also in every aspect. I think I'm the right man for the job. So guys, thanks for listening this far, and have a great day.